I can't have a repeat of last time. Like if I have to, I at least want to get a few rounds on you if I'm gonna fight you again. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Console Xplosion podcast. I'm your host, the Philosopher, and I had a very special guest today and a very great conversation. I had Alan Paris, aka LuCkyL0opZ of fighting game fame, specifically Dead or Alive 5 is what I best know him for, and just sat down and got to know him, not just on fighting games, but just life in general. And just had a very, very fun, good, deep conversation. Talked to him about getting better at fighting games, how he got started in the fighting game scene, and just a little bit about himself. So if you guys know this name or just are curious about, competitive fighting in general, and I think even if you're not into competitive fighting games or even fighting games, you still can pull a lot from this conversation, getting better at things, having different goals. Just a very, very fun conversation. I actually met him at Summer Jam 9 in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. Was a very cool guy. He was nice enough to take the time to sit down and talk to me. I'm very, very honored, and I definitely want to thank him for his time. I really, really appreciate it. I have fun, and hopefully we can do it again in the future. I will be running into him again in a few weeks for Yumicon, where there's going to be another Dead or Alive tournament, and hopefully this time he won't destroy me like he did last time. I've been training, so hopefully I'll be able to stand against him this time. We will see. I will let you guys know the progress, but until then, I hope you guys enjoy the show. Thanks. I tried to look you up online, but like you have multiple aliases, it seems.
Yeah.
So like what do you usually go by, and how can people like find a lot of your fights and stuff like that? Because I know you have a lot on there. I went to the Corn YouTube website and saw some of your tutorials as well.
Actually, that's a good question because I haven't done this in a while. So I'm gonna Google myself. At one point in time, you could just Google Alan Paris, ALLANPARIS.
Mm-hmm.
I held down the first entire page of Google, just typing my name in for DOA and just DOA stuff and related.
Huh.
At this point in time, I no longer hold down the first page of Google. I don't even think I kind of fell back.
Right.
But I will say this: when I type in Alan Paris, because that's my Twitter name, at Alan Paris, I didn't come up for that. I'm looking at that now. So like, yeah, okay, yeah. See, I hold down the first page of Google. So if I just put I in front of Alan Paris and like how my Twitter name is, it's just all one name or word. I hold down the first page of Google.
Yeah. Also, if you type in Alan Paris DOA 5, that pulls up pretty much all you for the like first 2 pages.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I see that. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. so you're still dominating on Google. You just like the way they do their searching is different now. So there's like doctors and stuff.
A while ago, I went through. I changed my name to LuCkyL0opZ.
Right, you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And when I put in LuCkyL0opZ, I have almost the entire page. I think the last link. I don't know. The last link down there has me in it too. Yeah. So when even my new name is starting to pick up. It's starting to pick up steam, I guess, for some
right.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting thing because I mean, you're obviously well known in the DOA community. I listen to commentary on DOA and I hear your name pop up a lot. Usually they just say Alan Paris because probably the same reason. But like, what is that like to be able to Google yourself and like, I don't know, what is it like to make a name for yourself?
I guess the initial name is pretty cool, but it's like when you change the name and you start back all over again, it's like, well, I want people to call me by my new name, and it's like, well, we've been calling you this name for your name like the past 5-6 years, and then you go and change it.
Yeah.
So I'll say it's fun, and at times it's kind of frustrating because when I go to events, no matter which one I go to, they always mess it up, spell it and everything. It's like, all right, I'm gonna have to make a little bit of noise just so they can get it right.
I I can actually relate to that very well. I've been to one other tournament other than Summer Jam, and that was Combo Breaker.
Uh-huh.
And I played 3 different games, and I did terribly at all of them. I just wanted to experience. I did Melee, Brawl, and Ultra Street Fighter 4. And in every single one, the guy kept calling me Philo Cypher. Like, it was... in one way, it was really insulting and aggravating, but another way, it's like, you know what? That's just like one of my goals, is to get good enough to where people pronounce my name right, you know?
Yeah.
Or know who I am and know this name, which luckily at Summer Jam that didn't happen.
And I will say, in his defense, when I saw your name in the brackets of Summer Jam, I was like, who is Philo Cypher? And then they were like, no, it's philosopher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, this is an interesting way to spell it, you know?
Yeah, it's a play on a couple of things that I love philosophy. I used to go by Cypher, and like one day I was like, oh, I totally get this. I don't feel too bad though. Like one of my good friends, the guy who owns who's running House of M up here in Benton Harbor, Michigan, he still calls me Philo Cypher because of the way it's spelled, and people have to correct him. It's kind of funny. He's like he corrects himself and he gets mad. But back to what you were saying about, you know, being in the community for so long. How long have you been playing DOA?
Man, I would say I've been playing with it off and on since it was released on the Dreamcast, but like competitively playing it,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say for about 7-8 years now. Going on.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, for a minute. Yeah, it's been around for a good while.
Okay, if you remember, what was your first like competitive DOA game? Was that DOA 3 or 4?
Yeah, 4. That's when I
4?
first started traveling.
Okay. I guess what kept you going? Like, like your first tournament, like how did that go? Did that just change something in you?
Yeah, it went terrible. Like that was me transitioning from online to offline, and I brought online tricks to an offline setting, and it was real bad. So, but just me, like I have after I went to my first one, like it was fun just being around a bunch of people that enjoyed the same things that I enjoyed. So I like the atmosphere, and more importantly, like I have a ridiculous competitive drive. Man,
Right.
it's crazy. So after I did that one, I'm like, all right, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Let me go back home to the drawing board and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I know how that is. It's such a, I don't know if bittersweet is the right word, but it's such a weird thing to get beat so badly. Like, kind of how you beat me. Like, just for those, you know, I went to Summer Jam 9. I was in Philadelphia, and I fought this guy, Alan Paris, and he knocked me out of winner's bracket. And it was my first DOA tournament, but it's just like I couldn't be mad. You know, I was upset that I lost you know, having to fight you so soon, but you know, it's just like, okay, how can I beat this guy next time? What did I do wrong? I know it's possible to beat this person.
Yeah, absolutely.
To kind of to reiterate what Lapito said last night, with practice, it's not a matter of if you can beat this person, is you know, will you beat this person once you have enough experience and whatnot. You know, I still have a lot of way to go, but yeah, it's just like it's not impossible to beat these people. It's just a matter of dedication and learning the right tools and all this other stuff, and it's just that lights a fire under you, at least for me.
The same thing for me. Like I never let someone's name or their accomplishments like deter me away from being good, or you know, like you say, trying to beat them. So as long as you don't let that get in your way, like yeah, you can you'd be fine.
Yeah, most definitely. So what other fighting games do you play?
As of right now, I'm actively full-time playing Mortal Kombat X. After Mortal Kombat X, of course, I'm gonna pick up the Injustice that comes out next year, as well as Street Fighter, and I got some teammates of mine that are like, man, come play Tekken.
Oh man,
yeah, I don't know. I can say this much, the space and lane that me as a player that I'm starting to move into now, I may end up picking up Tekken.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that one's up in the air, but I think I may end up picking that up too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to see. I actually don't know too much about the competitive Tekken scene, so that'll be very interesting. And you're fairly close, so hopefully I
Right.
can come down there and do some
Oh, and
learning.
there's also one that I've always played that I think I may go back to playing. I spoke to Sonic Fox at a TFC, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we need the players. I didn't know you played." And it's Skullgirls. I
Oh
played
man.
that. Yeah, I played that when it first came out. I only run one character, which is Celia, but I may end up. I see their roster has gotten bigger. The devs are still tweaking and working with the game, so
Right.
I may end up picking that back up again, probably on the PS4. As of
Yeah.
right now, the only thing that's kind of holding me up from getting the games that I want to get right now is that I have to get an arcade stick. As of right now, DOA and probably Mortal Kombat would be the only two games that I play on a controller. The rest of them I'm gonna play on an arcade stick. That thing is too good to play on, not to play on it.
Yeah, I agree. I played on a arcade stick. I'm not that good, but when I do play it, it has to be on a stick. That's pretty much
Yeah,
every game but DOA. And even DOA, if I had a stick for that console, I would get a stick because I just feel more comfortable using it at this point in
at some
time.
yeah at Summer Jam, like I play around with DOA
Hmm.
on a stick, and I can do it, but I've been playing DOA so long, and I've learned how to work the quirkiness of the controls of the game on the D-pad so well that like if I play it on a stick, it's certain things that I do to defend myself and
Hmm.
start an offense that I'd have to relearn how do I guess cheat inputs the way I do on a stick that I don't feel like taking the time out to do. So I mean I can play DO on a stick. I don't do it because I can't do some of the weird things that I can do on a D-pad with it. At least I don't feel like sitting down and figuring out how to do it. So
I can definitely understand that. It's when you played as long as you have. Like I know some people that they have the same issue, but that transition is almost like starting all over again.
yeah,
You kind of have to find your groove and then stick with it and go in that direction. But starting from scratch, you have to make a big commitment to doing that. That's relearning all the inputs and whatnot. That's pretty hard to do.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like what do I say? Like I started playing Mortal Kombat actually on a stick. I bought my PS4. I was tapped out on buying that. I couldn't get the stick, so I'm like, let me play on a controller. Started playing on a controller for the past several months. I'm like, I sit down with an arcade stick for Mortal Kombat, and it's like, oh man, like I would say this, like, because I play Raiden. The only thing that would like, I guess, slow me down on playing a stick is fluently performing my lightning cancels.
Hmm.
Um, Outside of that, everything else, comboing wise, movement wise, like I'm good. It's just I learned my lightning cancels on a pad and not a stick, so that will be, I guess, awkward for my fingers to do that on a stick. So that'd be
Definitely.
the only thing, yeah, that will hold me up from playing MKX on a stick as quickly as I want to, I guess, sit down and play with
Yeah, I I love watching Mortal Kombat, but I won't sit down and learn that game just because I know
that.
it's a great game to watch. I wish I was good at it, but just the time it would take to get good at it. But I've known a few people that have that same mindset of using the controller for that game, which I find very interesting. Because from my point of view, it looks like the inputs are very much the same as
Hmm.
in a way as a traditional 2D fighter like Street Fighter or something like that. You kind of have your quarter circles and your backboards, or you can kind of do a half circle if you wanted to. At least that's the way it worked for me. It worked in my head, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people just prefer, like even stick users prefer to use the pad, and I thought that was very interesting.
I can say like this, like they have I mean, because I know in Mortal Kombat the inputs of it is it's fairly simple. Like this is for me, like I've always played Mortal Kombat growing up. It's always been in the household, but like this is my first time actually taking NRS product, seriously playing with it.
Hmm.
So like for me, it wasn't. I guess because the controls are simplistic. Like honestly, the controls are just as easy as in DOA. So like your quarter circle forward motions and all that other stuff, you just press down, forward, and whatever 1, 2, or 3, whatever button you have to play. So it's not necessarily like, in Street Fighter, you can't press down and then forward to get a Hadouken to come out.
Yeah.
But, and with Katana and Mortal Kombat, you can press down and forward in one and a fan will come out every time. So, or you can do the quarter circle forward motion to do that if you want to do it. And, it just, I guess you can work it however you want to. I will say that when I did play on the stick, I quarter circle forwarded or quarter circle backed it rather than pressing down and then forward.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's more of a fluid motion on a stick to do that, than a pad. But I get what that's just to clarify for you. Like it's the controls are fairly simplistic. You have to find the character you like and then run with it.
So I gotta backtrack a little bit on the note of NetherRealm Studios. You said Injustice, but are they remaking that for the PS4 or?
No, I think I'm pretty sure a new one is coming out. I haven't officially heard it or seen it personally, but it's coming from enough people from me hearing it through hearsay that a new Injustice is coming out in 2016.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that, and I'm a huge Injustice fan. I love that game. I guess it was just the characters. I love Shazam the most, but but that game was very fun. I don't know. I feel like that was a very underrated game, in my opinion.
I'm new to these products, so I honestly have like no solid ground to make an opinion on anything. Like as of right now, I'm like at the player stage. I see a game, I like it. I'm pretty good at playing fighting games. I'm just here to play. Oh, yeah. You think it's this, and that? I don't have a mind of reference for that. I'm new to it. I'm just here to play. I enjoy the characters. I'm just here to play. So I mean, hopefully, of course, through my time playing it, I'll figure something out. Just because like Mortal Kombat, like I read and hear comments of people saying sideways things about it, and it's just like I'm still at the stage. I'm just a player. I'm happy to be here, and I'm enjoying the game.
Definitely.
I'm sorry that you're not.
yeah, I know what you mean. It sounds like you play a good amount of fighting game. Well, you competed in a few different fighting games, but do you have any sort of routine, like a training regimen that you do, or is this something that kind of is natural to you at this point?
Yeah, I have a routine. I'm actually going through that routine right now because I'm playing with two of my teammates that are on Flipside Tactics with me, my sponsor, and it's F3 Alucard and F3 Adonis. Both players are really good at adapting and adjusting to things on the fly, and we kind of not necessarily but Adonis, we kind of go at it a little bit because he's like, man, I'm like Mr. Fantastic. Like I see a problem, I figure it out on the fly, and for me, it's like it doesn't necessarily. It comes natural to me, but only so much. Like I'm the type. I sit down and I'll get beat by something a million times over, and then like I gotta sleep on it, figure out, run the setups, and then pretty much I have to study your character. That's just me. And once I do that, then I'm fine. So, in the short game, they're stronger than me because of their ability to adapt and to adjust to things on the fly. But in the long game, I know I'll be fine, and I'll get to that point of where I need to be because of, for me and how it is that I need to learn to be, where I need to be.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say this, I guess, and it's also the time that you put into the game. Because, like, in regards to DOA, I don't no longer necessarily need that. Because I'm so familiar with that product, I can sit, like, Team Ninja could drop a new character today, and I can watch people play that character and go, okay, this is what I think I should be doing to this character, this is what I may need to do. And then if I get my hands on the character, then that's why in a good period of time, will I be able to figure out, like, okay, this is what I need to do with the character. And even still with me going back and doing what I do, as far as looking into things in every possible angle what a character can and can't do, in DOA, it becomes like I've gotten to the point where I don't even practice DOA. Yeah.
It kind of goes back to what we talked to a little bit when we're at Summer Jam about things becoming second nature. It just sounds like with you, DOA, you're so intimate with that game that you understand like some of the things that other people have to multitask in their brain to understand, the different like what moves to use, when to use them, what to do, what's a high crush, what's a low crush, all these different terminologies and things. They're pretty much in you at this point. But, it's like with the other games that you're talking about, you're still in that, I guess we'll call it the apprentice stage, where you're still learning all these things. And it's very interesting. And I know I've had this issue a few times, and I'm sure a lot of other people have, so I'll go ahead and ask. I call it like the wall, or the brick wall, like where you're getting better at a game and you hit a brick wall, like you're not getting better. Have you ever had that problem happen?
Let me think. I'll say yeah. Actually, it's happened in DOA, and once I got through that wall, now you can Google me. So
right,
but before I got to that, like I hit a brick wall. I want to say after my second tournament, I had an epiphany. I was sitting down and I was playing online matches. I mean, at the point in time, online, I was still in the phase that it meant everything, and but it meant everything to me because that was my realm of competing. So I was playing against a friend of mine, and he didn't necessarily play as much as I played, but when he would, get on randomly, he'd still like run the room and run sets on me, and I'm like, man, I sit and I put this much time into this game. Like, I mean, again, this is the old me. I looked at my win-loss ratio. I'm like, I'm below 50%. Some people I know, like, again, my particular friend at the time, like, I play more than him, and like, what is the problem? So at that point in time, that's when I tapped into my technical prowess and started studying and looking into numbers. And once I learned how to play and manipulate those, I started performing better at offline events. And then more importantly, I started to see my progression amongst my friends. Like, I would have to change new circles constantly because the circle of friends that I would make, like this particular week, okay, I'm better than you guys. Can none of you guys beat me? And then I will go over to another group of friends and it's okay, I've outgrown you guys. And then I eventually ended up playing that a friend that had me, where I sat back and I had that epiphany, and it was real bad. I destroyed him. I'm doing stuff to him and he's like, yo, so when you do that and it goes into this, like, I can't hold there and I can't move. And I'm like, nah, you can't do anything. I shut all that down. And he's like, yo, and it's crazy because, I'm doing stuff not only with my main character there, but with other characters that I've sat down and figured things out with. And he's like, he's taking notes. And I'm like, okay. So that brick wall you mentioned, that's when I knew that, okay, I've gotten over it just from my performance on me destroying people online and then me performing better offline. That's when I knew I got past it.
Yeah. And that brings up a good point that I love this saying. I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, but it's actually referring more so to finances. But the saying is you're the average of your 5 closest friends. But I believe that holds true to just about everything you do in life, whether it be money, video games, your health. I see it. I've had to distance myself from friends who aren't as healthy or have bad habits. I think it's the same thing with fighting games. Just like you said, you had to change your circle because you were better than the people around you. And it's not an insult or anything cocky, just for people to understand. It's just you need to be around people who are going to challenge you and bring your game to the next level. And that's every game that you play, whether it be FPSs, RTSs, MOBAs, all of those. That's just kind of, at least in my opinion, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say that I'm not cool with some of those people who are falling
right,
down.
for sure.
I'm going to say this, I do have a competitive drive, so some people I have rubbed the wrong way, but it's all been in the game. It's never been anything personal.
Definitely.
Yeah, but for the most part, like, yeah, I mean, I'm still cool with, some of the people that I used to play with that I've outgrown skill wise. And it's like, it has nothing, do with that. Cause I mean, I do teach, so it doesn't like I just took all my knowledge and I just, screw you guys. Like, nah, whoever willing to listen, learn, and, ask questions, I'm here.
You get back to the community. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I know what you're talking about, but just for the sake of, any of the listeners, can you explain what you meant by numbers?
Frame data. That, it was, for me, honestly, was a headache to deal with. And I will say this, like, I'm weird. when it comes to like math is not a big subject of mine. I don't like it, but science is. So like with physical science, there's mathematical equations in it. For whatever reason, I do fantastic when science and math are put together. But when it's just like raw mathematics, like, and it's not, I guess, what's gravity and inertia and all that other stuff, like when it's just raw, I do terrible with it. So it's like, frame data for me, I see it as a science and numbers. And once I figured out that science and numbers, well, now I can sit down and once I figure out, okay, how does the game function, I can do amazing things just sitting down and coming and playing around with numbers. So, like you said, to clarify, that's what I mean. Started playing around with numbers. Just getting a grasp and understanding what frame data is, because frame data for the most part, it's read the same through all the games, but however that game system is functioning, like it's different for each one. So like for instance, ducking in DOA, I want to say it takes one frame to duck in DOA.
Okay.
And in Mortal Kombat, if you block something low, like it takes 2 frames for you to stand back up after you block it low. So, again, from my understanding, don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure if any MK player, hears this, they may realize, like, no, that's wrong. But I believe if you block something low, because it takes you 2 frames to stand up. So say, for instance, if I do a string and it's -3, but you had to block the last hit of it low. Well, because it takes you 2 frames to stand up, I believe I'm at -1 and not -3.
Okay. So a little tidbit, possibly. I mean, I would, definitely research that, but that's something that, you can look up now if you're an MK player.
Right.
So.
And again, like I said, don't quote me on it. That's just, I'm still learning. That's what I believe my understanding of as far as when you block things low and the frame data there.
Mm-hmm.
It also explains, I also learned that when Mortal Kombat released the game and people say, how do you guys have the frame data wrong? Well, I believe NRS is factoring in numbers that shouldn't be within the frame data. So like it's throwing things off. Not necessarily say that the numbers are wrong, but not necessarily. It's just numbers that in the frame data shouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, frame data is a very interesting topic for me because most people don't know, but I do animating for an indie game, for indie fighting games, and so I intimately know frame data. But it's like once I know what it is, but then I just kind of toss it out of my brain for some reason. Like I understand the whole concept of it, but like memorizing it seems to be the big issue. Like, is this not something that you have a good memory to do, or do you actually just go back and actually like either have a notebook or you do it so many times that you just know it's this many frames? Like, how do you kind of embody the frame data for a character if you do that?
I would say starting out, I would do it just looking at the numbers. Like, oh, okay, these are the numbers, and then it's like, dang, I forgot. And then I kind of started writing them down. But the more and more I started doing it, the more and more I memorized it, and it's gotten to the point that I memorize how fast it is, the active frames, the recovery, what it is on hit, what it is, like what I can and cannot do if it whiffs. I can do this for multiple characters too. Some characters I can sit down and, depending on certain things, I can kind of like eyeball things or like be really close to how fast or how slow something may be. And so yeah, I guess to answer your question is like, yeah, at one point in time, I lightly started taking notes, but then eventually I just started memorizing the stuff. And oddly enough, like I thought I can only do that in DOA. I can do that in Mortal Kombat. It's weird when I come across things that annoy and like piss me off, like it becomes the focal point of my attention, and I retain everything it is about what's annoying me, and then I proceed to figure out how do I solve my problem.
That's a very interesting concept. It's like you're using your emotions to kind of fuel your attention. It's actually a good way of like doing it. It's pretty smart.
Yeah, I honestly like, and just most problems. Like, I'm a hell of a problem solver. Like, any situation, anything, I really don't sit too long and fester in things like, oh, this is like, no, immediately. What's my problem and how do I go about solving it?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and something I'm really realizing now is for specifically for fighting games, but any game you can think of or any skill I can think of, there's tools online that you can use. You know, I hate forums, but they're there for, you know, the purpose of, you know, for many purposes, but you can learn from so many of these different forums. There are people out there who are willing to teach. You just got to go out there and, you know, look for it. Cause I know I love fighting games. You know, I like playing DOA right now, and I've been playing DOA since like part 2 on, the Dreamcast, I believe. But I didn't go out and like reach out and learn, you know, and now there's so many different tools, and I've come across so many people who they'll say this game is terrible. I got bopped online, you know, so many times. The game is bad. It's like, you know, it's your opinion that the game's, you don't like it, but you could learn. There's tons of tools out there to learn. And I mean, I will say that some of these games are, you know, their learning curve is a bit steep, but there are communities out there who are willing to help you, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's people, like I said, like I'm here to help. And then nowadays, games are no longer, as far as, you know, to mention when you say, you know, some of your learning curves are steep. Most devs nowadays are making their games easily accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, you know, upsetting the hardcore players, because it's like, man, we used to work hard and bust our fingers up trying to do this, and here it is, you want to give these easy inputs. So it's like, I mean, I guess to have the in-depth knowledge within a game, like, yeah, you can sit there and learn. Yeah, like I say, like an intermediate player, a beginner player, intermediate player, and there are even some advanced players that I come across that don't know half of the stuff that I know.
Huh.
So to take it that far, like, you know, the game is still there for you to sit down and to dig into it. But yeah, I guess not the way games are being made. You don't have to do that to necessarily compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that? Like, how do you feel about the fact that fighting games are kind of becoming more accessible?
I'll say this, for me, I have no problem with it, just so as long as the things that I'm able to do are still rewarded better than somebody saying, I'm going to sit down and put a quarter or half the time that you put into the game and be on your level.
Mm-hmm.
As long as that is not possible, I don't care how easily accessible they make the game for, you know, a beginner player or to entice people to come play their game.
Okay. On that note, there's a new, I don't know if you call it an indie game, but it's being created by Seth Killian, who is popular from Capcom. It's called Rising Thunder. Have you had a chance to play it yet?
I've seen it being promoted,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say it didn't catch my eye. You know, no
Mm-hmm.
disrespect to him and his project, but you know, for me, it just, I see it and I'm like, oh, okay. And for me, honestly, it's gonna be one of those things where it's like I'm going to watch outside of the box to see what it's doing as far as, you know, how people are receiving it and things of that nature. I'll say this: I haven't heard anything bad about it. I think people are able to test it and play around with it. So
Yeah.
as of right now, I guess it's in a neutral place with me. Again, I just want to see, like, all right, what is this about? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the idea of it and the way he explained it, which is pretty much making it as easily accessible for fighting games as possible. You know, they have the special buttons mapped on to a button for those who don't know what the game is. You know, so instead of having the quarter circle motion, you just do a button and it does it for you. So,
wow.
It's a 6-button game. So you have your light, medium, essentially it's your light, medium, heavy, and then your light, medium, and heavy special attacks. And then it kind of incorporates a little bit of a MOBA. So instead of having to, you can't spam these moves. They all have cooldowns, and I guess they balance it based off of whatever criteria they have, you know, power and speed, so on. So it's really interesting. It still very much feels like a 2D fighting game. I don't want to say Street Fighter, but it just does have that kind of Street Fighter-y feel, which isn't too surprising because Seth Killian did work with, you know, the Marvel series and the Capcom Street Fighter games. But it's just very interesting to see it, and it does very much look like fighting games are going the way of MOBAs, in the sense that, you know, you have these balancing things that happen, you know, in regular time. It's not just once a game is pushed out there's new versions like Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter, and so on. You're sort of going to have those expansions, but they can, tweak the characters, they can add new things and make the game better or more fair, I guess I should say, as time goes on. And it looks like he really, with the cooldown system that they have for the specials, it's very interesting to see because he took out the having to think about, this is a quarter circle, this is a half circle, I have to do this input. You take all that out, but you still have the fundamentals. You have footsies, you have your frame data, you have, all the combos. You just take out the inputs. And I'm still on the fence. I've played the game a few times. It's very well made. It's still in alpha right now, so it's very early, but you can get it for free. For PC only.
Does he have all the characters available, or is it just like a couple characters?
There's 5 characters available right now, from what I understand. They're all pretty polished. I think they're going to have cosmetic purchases, to kind of keep the game going.
Now that I think about it, like he was working with Capcom. Capcom versus SNK 2. I want to call it. I'm gonna say it was easy mode because I can't remember the actual name of what it was called, but you could do that in Capcom versus SNK 2. If you played on the controller, you could turn a setting on, I think, when you picked your characters, on the console version, of course, to where your right thumbstick did all of the special moves and all of the fun stuff that your character did. So all you really had to do was just move your character around and just flick your little right thumbstick in whatever direction that that the special move was, I guess, mapped to on that right thumbstick. And it was, I didn't like it. Although I wasn't, at the time of me playing, I wasn't good at the game, but I didn't like it. I'm just like, this is cheap, man.
Yeah, this is easy mode. Exactly. Yeah.
I want to get in there and press the buttons, even though I can't press them that way. I want to learn.
Yeah, I was very much the same way. Like, I still have a long way to go, but it's very interesting now that, I've been learning all about these fighting games and all the intricacies that are involved in them. I feel like I understand the veterans a little bit because you do take out a lot of that learning curve, but it just makes it that you focus more on the actual gameplay rather than focusing on the inputs. It's like learning how to play chess. You don't have to know how to pick up a piece and move it. You have to know how that piece moves. That's fine, but you don't have to do any weird finger combination to pick it up and put it in its place. You have to learn the game.
Right.
And I think that makes it so that people can learn the actual game faster than having to fumble around the actual inputs. So I'm both ways on that, where I understand that, it is very easy for people to pick it up, but I think it is a good way of introducing people into the fighting game community. And, maybe Rising Thunder isn't the end game, but it'll make it a hell of a lot easier to transition into, something like Street Fighter. Once you understand the mechanics of a fighting game, you can kind of transfer those from one game to another. You still have to learn the individual game, but, once you understand the fundamentals, I think to some extent you can go to another game and not feel as intimidated.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to check it out. I haven't seen any video play of it. I just
really?
like the promotional commercial, I guess he has for it when I go to tournaments, and no, it's on streams. I believe when I see it on streams, I'll see it like I guess like a little commercial for it. I know I've seen it promoted in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't know how I've seen it, but I know I've seen it. I haven't seen any gameplay. I have some friends that, talk about it like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. And I'm like, I want to hear some more. I want to, let me see what it's about. But I say just for me, yeah. I mean, cause like when I heard about Skullgirls, I was in college, and, my teacher, he was like, yo, you guys need to check this game out. They're making it. I think it was a hand-drawn game. And I'm like, man, let me look up and see what this is. And I'm like, all right, this is catching my eye. I like it. So I've been following Schoolgirls well before it was an actual, I guess, physical game.
Yeah, and it's the first indie fighting game too, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. So like that caught my eye, and like I said, like I just kind of fell out of touch with it. I'm gonna try to get back to it, especially that the cast is real bigger. And I like it. I really like the game. Yeah. If I have another character that I really like, I may end up running 2, but I do like just running the one character. I don't have to think or worry about too much.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And the creator, Mike Z, is a very, very intelligent person, very interesting, but I watched a lecture that he gave on creating fighting games, which I think more people need to check out. And, he just talks about, a lot of the things that a fighting game should have nowadays to make it easier to access. And I think if I can remember, I'm definitely going to put that in the show notes, because anyone who's interested in game development and also fighting games, I think, there are some fundamentals on the game development side that should be thought about, and that a lot of the AAA people are like kind of now getting into, but still a lot of them aren't doing it. So a very good talk for him. Very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may have to check that out. I didn't know he did a lecture.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know if you're into game development, but it's very educational, which I'm always into learning. And I think he talks about having frame data to be accessible. He's like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have the player see the frame data. And I definitely agreed with that. It's like you're denying a learning tool that a lot of people will have to go on, like, to an outside source to look up. That, some people aren't going to go that extra mile to get into a game unless they're going to get some return out of it.
Right.
So it's very interesting.
I will say that's game development. Like, I don't know. It's other. I would be interested in it. Like, I have the knowledge and the skill sets to produce a game. As of right now, it's just me. But I have some friends that also, if I sat down with them and say, like, yo, let's do something, we could. But my focus right now really isn't. It's not there. I may or may not end up getting back to it. As my years go on, I'm focused somewhere else. I'm into urban vinyl art right now. I really, really like it. It's what I'm doing at the moment. So, I don't know. Maybe in my later years, I'll say, okay, let me sit down and make,
buckle down and get one made.
Yeah, get one made. I don't know. It's just video games in general. Like, I don't know if I would do a fighting game. I would like to, but if I don't do a fighting game and I end up doing something, I don't know. If I end up doing something just action adventure, and it's nothing like on a grand scale, something that, for your phone or on a marketplace or anything like that. Yeah, I'd be down to do that. I have some pretty good ideas that I would want to work with. But like I said, right now, it's not. The ideas are there, and the information that I want to do it, it's all there. But my mind, I'm focused on something else right now. So.
Definitely. And I would say a fighting game is a very long project.
Yeah.
I worked on a project for a year and a half, and that game was still a long way from being finished, in my opinion. It's a long process, so you got to be willing to commit to that. When you say vinyl art, does that involve anything game related, or just totally separate from gaming altogether?
It's totally separate from gaming altogether, but for me and what I'm doing, it's, I guess, to help me promote it. Everything it is that I do, it kind of ties all into each other. So some people may be like, oh, this is something, you're doing, with the gaming side, and it's not necessarily, with the gaming side. It's something completely different. I could say, I don't know if you are familiar with urban vinyl art, but some artists, I tell people, you will look at the work or see merchandise all day long and just say, oh, okay, that, that's a pretty cool hat. That's a nice shirt. That's a cool phone case or whatever you may see the product placed on. So, like some artists are Tokidoki, Kia Robot, Tokyo Plastic, Takashi Murakami. Okay, I'll say this. Are you familiar? You listen to Kanye West, right? You've heard of that artist, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely.
You know his album cover for Graduation Day.
Oh, yeah, the bear.
The bear?
Mm-hmm.
Takashi Murakami did that for him. It's an urban vinyl artist. He's a designer.
Okay.
Yeah, he did that. And I don't know if there's a rumor if it was true, but I heard Kanye West paid him $2 million just to do that.
Woo!
Yeah. Like, I think I still have that album case around here. It's not even hard plastic. It's like soft, I guess, cardboard-like, and the art on it is ridiculous. But that's the field that I'm getting into, and it's what I'm doing at the moment. I guess I have not a guess I have, but I do have a Facebook page for it.
Hey, definitely. You should. If you send that to me, I'll go ahead and post that for you. Most definitely.
Like all the information. Like I know you asked me earlier. How people can catch up with me or find me. I give you all of my links for that for you to put there for people to get in touch with me or contact with me.
Almost definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the field I'm getting into. Like, yeah, it's not video game related at all. It's something completely different.
It's very interesting because I mean, most people who know the name, at least in my circle, Alan Paris or LuCkyL0opZ, they see the gamer, but we have a passion for gaming. At least I want to speak for myself. I have a passion for gaming, but a lot of the things that I want to do in the future is not just gaming related. I definitely want to always have a connection to the gaming community, but there's other dreams and aspirations that I think a lot of us in the gaming industry or gaming field have, like just like what you talked about. That's very cool.
Oh, thank you, man. Like, yeah, it's just like, yeah, art, something that I'm good at doing. And I'm sitting now, I guess I'm cranking out the work actually right now. Like, I'm in Photoshop doing one of my little projects that I have, and thinking of other stuff to do, to put on the fan page, just again showcasing my art. But that's what like you said, it's something I'm gonna get people familiar with me. I'm not really big on social media, but nowadays people want to be in the know. So you gotta, like I'm a private person and I don't know how to be public.
Yeah, it's very
yeah.
it's not so easy all the time it's almost learning marketing,
Yeah, and it's crazy because I understand and know what I have to do to put myself out there, but it's just like, man,
yeah,
it's the only way. Like, I don't, like, to me, like, TV is cool, but at the same time, this internet tool, man, I can be everywhere and don't have to pay a dime for advertisement. So
absolutely.
So that, for me, honestly, it's just for me coming out of that shell and saying, okay, I guess for me, honestly, it's like, cause I'm a private person. So I'm, as of right now, I'm kind of like filtering out, like, okay, what part of me do I say, okay, the public, you can have this, and I still have myself. So, that's what I'm doing, right now. And more, I'm trying to be more, I guess, socially active on social media as I possibly can be. But like I say, for me, it's a filtering process to say, okay, what do I want out there? What don't I want out there? What do I want out there? I see some people just don't care. I'm gonna put it all out there, but like, not me. I guess, and I think sometimes that's how people like lose themselves when you put so much out there and to a bunch of people you don't know. So, I think everybody should do that. You don't have to put everything out there. Just put just enough for people to feel connected to you. You don't have to be fake or anything like that, or not be who you are. But at the same time, you need a piece of yourself to yourself.
Definitely. I can completely understand that. It's almost like a balancing act, because you want to be open enough to be transparent, but you don't want to put all of your life out there, But at the same time, you do want to have your brand essentially.
Right.
So it's a learning process, just like everything else. And it takes time and repetition and doing things and building new habits. It's a very interesting thing. And I mean, as anybody can relate, cause YouTubers, competitive people, getting sponsorships. I'm sure that so you said you were sponsored. Like, how did that happen?
I had a friend, he came to me and he said, it's funny, like it happened because of my skill sets to do other things, like sharing knowledge, tech within DOA, and making videos. I was sucky at it at first, but then I started getting better, and I'm a fairly thorough person when I do things. So I had a friend approach me. He was interested. He was like, "Yo, there's a company. They want to get into the FGC. And they're looking for people to, I guess, help them get into the games." So I'm like, "Oh, sure. I can do that." So I'm like, "You tell me exactly, what it is you're looking for, and I'll knock it out for you." So it came down to, okay, well, we need several tutorial videos, and I'm like, okay, to explaining how to deal with DOA. So I'm like, man, there's so much in DOA. So I just pretty much took out the meat and potatoes that makes up DOA, and I came up with like I want to say a 6 or 7 video basic tutorial that anybody can watch and get into. Even if you're an advanced player, you can sit down and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. All right, let me go back and do that. So I did that for them, and they liked the work, composed the videos, and then after that, it was like, well, you're on the team. And I'm like, oh, okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. And that's how it happened. So it didn't necessarily come from me playing, but I can play. I can definitely play on the level for a sponsorship to be interested in me. And now that I'm focusing and have my eyesight on different video games, I can now exercise my talents that I have in other games just to show like, okay, this dude, he's good at what he does. So, like we were just talking earlier, just other things that you're good at, not necessarily just playing the game that you have a drive to do or you're interested in doing. I'm fairly decent at video production. Yeah, that's pretty much how I got on with my sponsorship, Flipside Tactics. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's ultimately like going to get a job. You have a resume, and it's just like, if you say, I worked at such and such place, okay, what else can you do? Okay, what else can you do? All right, what else can you do? So that's especially if you spend time at a place. So that's, for the most part, that's what it is. So it's like, when it comes to DOA, and again, I'm going to affect other games the exact same way because of my abilities. It's like, all right, I can sit down and play DOA at the highest level and compete with people, but I can also commentate. I can also give you solid video production of whatever topic you want to cover. I can give you write-ups. I can help you out with tech. I can do whatever it is you need me to do with that product because I'm overly well versed within it or with it.
That makes me think back to Combo Breaker. I had a very brief moment to talk with Ed Boon, and I asked him one question. I was like, if you could give me one piece of advice for your success, like what was the key to your success? Like if you had to give me one. And, he thought about it and he gave me a longer answer than he really, I felt needed to. I was very grateful, but, he said, I started off as a programmer and I got good at one thing and well known for one thing. And then when I got good enough at that one thing, pretty much he was at a level, like what you said with DOA to where he could branch off and do other things, become well known for that. And it was that one thing that got him to where he is today. But, he's a multi-talented person, obviously. He's a great marketer. I see him on Twitter all the time. He always has good responses from people all the time. But it was just that programming job that got him to where he is now. And it's very interesting. And talking with you with DOA, you have other skills, but, you became well known with DOA, but you also have, other skills that you've cultivated and you're still cultivating, but you're able to branch off now into other fighting games and also doing art as well. And it's very interesting seeing it with different, very skilled people. Like I love talking to skilled people and breaking down their story and seeing where they came from and where they are now. It's a very cool process.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know Ed Boon, that was some good, I guess, advice or what he told you. Like, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I spoke to Ed Boon, before, like maybe five minutes or so. He's a pretty cool dude, You would think, oh man, is he hard to approach? Can I approach him? But for me, he was standing there in the crowd, so I'm like, yo, what's up, man? How's it going? How you doing? And I told him my first story as far as how I came across Mortal Kombat, and we had a couple laughs and just random conversation, and it was pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
pretty cool dude. Yeah,
he seems very humble, and it's great to have that. I don't know if other celebrities. To me, he's a celebrity. He's well known. People who view his art and partake in his art know his name. But you can approach the guy like a normal guy, like a normal person, and it's you can't do that with Kanye West. You can't do that with Tom Cruise. You're not going to have that opportunity for the most part. But us as gamers, it's a very unique situation where they very much are just like us. They are nerds and whatnot. They are creators, but they're also gamers for the most part.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right about that. I also find that interesting. Yeah. The two before mentioned people that you mentioned, like, yeah, you can't walk up to those guys, and 9 times out of 10, I know if you walk up to Kanye West, like, depending on what mood you catching me in, it's going to be a sight to see. So,
yeah.
Whereas, with Ed Boon, it's like, you just stood in the crowd, chilling, watching the game.
He took a picture with me. I was like, holy crap, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've actually seen him take several pictures. Like, for me, honestly, it was just a pleasure talking to him. I couldn't, like, when I seen him, I'm like, is he's really standing here just idly by. I'm like, because like you say, we see him as like, yo, this dude he's up there. It's like, what are you doing? And he's like, to me, honestly, that's, I like that, somebody to be in that position and still like humble enough and cool enough to say, all right, I can sit among my people and be comfortable, so.
And helpful,
Yeah.
Because that one piece of advice, like it was, maybe, I don't know how long it was. It seemed like forever when he was talking, but I know it couldn't have been super long, but that my mindset was just, oh my God, like, I wrote it down. Like after I walked away, my friends were like, hey, what did he say to you? I'm like, hold on, don't talk to me right now. I started writing what he said down because I had to have it written down. He took the time to give me this, nugget of advice. And, I want to definitely embody that, remember it, cherish it because he's a skilled person. His words have knowledge. I hope if I ever get to that level of success, I definitely want to, keep the success train going, helping other people as well. I don't ever want to be to that point. Like you, I feel like, you're up there as well. You're very well known, but you're taking the time to sit here and talk to me and chat and have a good time. And, very grateful for that. That's very cool. And like you said, you're helpful with the community. And that's, I do very much appreciate your time, talking to me.
Oh yeah, I know it took a minute, man. I stay constantly moving around, but nah, man, it's like, and I hope I never, I don't want to say fame, but I guess enough, so much recognition to where like, I don't know. I don't get that to where it's just like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
For some people though, I understand like, it's like, all right, I don't like doing interviews. My words get twisted or because, people misuse information. But for me, like, I like to be well known, but I would never like to be so known to the point to where it's like, again, like I can't do what I'm doing right now with you or just sit down and be who I've been just all my life. And just because I picked up enough recognition, I can no longer talk to people or just be an ass. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. But I guess what do you have? Well, two things actually. One, do you have any closing statements that you'd like people to know about? Either just your success so far, or anything, any sponsors or links that you want to say, before we head out.
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as I say, my art work, you can again, I'll give you the link just in case the people can't follow what I'm about to say.
Or they're driving or something.
Yeah, if you're on Facebook, just type in the search bar Cody, CO-D. Don't spell out hyphen; it's an actual hyphen. So CO-D, put a space and type in designs. I just started. Well, actually, I've been in the process of starting my brand, but now I got some legal stuff situated with it. So now I can share with the public. That's my brand. I have some sketches on there, some Photoshop work. I'm actually in the process of doing more work now, more characters and just more artwork to come. I really haven't. I'm buckling down now. Over the past 3 weeks, I've been at tournaments. And it's been crazy, but it's going to slow up for me for the next month or so. So I'm doing nothing but the artwork to show you more what I can do with that. And yeah, you find me on Twitter at Alan Paris. It's ALLAN. In Paris, like the city in France. I guess if you're interested in DOA, I'm a moderator on freestepdodge.com. You can check out the site for anything DOA related. You're trying to learn the game or know when tournaments and stuff are coming up. Of course, my local team that I play with, Corn, located in Detroit City, Detroit, Michigan. And my sponsorship, Flipside Tactics. You can go to flipsidetactics.com. And I'm going to say that, like, I think we got a Facebook link, a Twitter link, a YouTube link. If you go to flipsidetactics.com, all of our links will be posted there on the homepage of there. I really like to thank those guys as well as my local team leader that picked me up for Corn and Flipside for allowing me to use their brand to showcase my abilities as far as giving me that lane. And thank you guys for that. And any closing statements? Work hard. If you have any problems or any issues that you're having in a game, like, it's cool not to like the product, but like, just sit down and figure it out. Most of the time when you have a problem, like, you can you can figure something out to overcome it, unless something is just overbearingly broken or stupid. To me, honestly, I think that's the brick wall that you mentioned earlier, is that what people run into when they get to the point of, I don't know what else to do. And, you know, you stop looking at other people and look at yourself. Like, what is it that you're doing? What is it that you're not doing? You know, and knowing your abilities as far as what you can and cannot do. But like I said, I believe, you know, most people have the potential to get over that wall. How far and beyond that wall they go, you know, that's up to them. But I believe most, if not all, people can get over that wall. It's just recognizing your problem and then attacking it accordingly, and, you know, not necessarily pointing, you know, play the blame game. Like, yo, if this wasn't this way, I could do this or anything like that. You know, figure it out. It's free to think. And
couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, appreciate the time you know taking the time to talk to me, man.
You know, I thank you. And last but not least, you know, you can always check out our videos on theconsoleexplosion.com. We're also on Mixcloud if you're mobile. You can find me on facebook.com/philosopher, Twitter @thephilosopher, YouTube @thephilosopher, and then also be a part of our multi-channel community where, you know, you guys can always be a part of the Console Explosion and, you know, help the community grow, because we're just trying to put the word out there for gamers and so on. So also, thank you again, Mr. Alan Paris. You know, I will be seeing you at the end of October.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then, until then, I will see you next time, and I'll see all you guys in the next one.
Yeah, later, man.